Hi guys, welcome back to High Yield Intraday Trading. So time for me to share another live trade of mine. The date would be 27th of September 2017, and my apologies guys, I was not having much time to record the video throughout the day, so I'm doing it right now, so please accept my apologies. So coming on to the summary of today's trade, two trades were taken, IBREAL and NIITech. The total profit made was 11,175 rupees with a capital of 20,000. So the profit percentage was 55.87% on my total capital. All right, so let me jump on to the trades here. Let me explain why the trades were taken, and then I will show you the recorded session over there. All right, so first trade, IBREALEST NIITTECH, huge volume in the first candle itself, so I was not having any doubt that this will cross R1. So the entry was made at around 215.40, somewhere here. Okay, I should have booked the profit here, but since I was sure that it will cross R1, I waited for this. Okay, now another reason which I would like to share why I waited was because you see the wick at the top of the green candle, it was negligible, right? It was very small, which tells me that the sellers are not actually pushing the stock down. Okay, so that added to my confidence and I stayed in the trade, right? So entry again was 215.38, and I waited. My target was around 3 to 4 rupees, and this was the candle in which I should have booked my profit. Okay, this made a high of 218.45, so it was more than 3 rupees, and I was trading with 2,500 rupees, so it was more than 7,500 that I would have made in this trade. Okay, but unfortunately the reason why I was not able to book the profit here was because I was in the office and one of my colleagues walked up to my desk. All right, so this was a move which was missed, and then I have to wait because after that it did not move up, right? So it was a big miss. Okay, but again, when I come to the technicals, I waited. I did not exit of the trade because you see the super trend line here, and if you remember the stop loss video that I have made earlier, okay, this was a perfect example of that stop loss video. Okay, you see the R1 here, you see the pivot here, and we see the super trend here. Okay, now what I said in that video was you should always give some space to your stop losses. Okay, so this was a perfect example where I gave a nice space to my stop loss. Okay, but the only disadvantage is you should be having that risk appetite with you. Okay, here the stop loss was more than 3 rupees, so if the stop loss would have been hit, then I would have gone in a loss of 7,500 rupees. Okay, now the super trend was not the only support that I saw and stayed back in the trade. Okay, there are other important technicals which assured me that this is going to take a support here, and the same thing actually happened. Okay, again, those technicals are something which I cover in my technical trainings. Okay, just because I wanted to show you a right example, after so many days I got this example to be shown, so I stayed back in the trade. Okay, so when this particular red candle formed and when I got this wick just above super trend acting as a support, that was the confirmation for me that this guy is gonna move up. Okay, the next candle was a doji, but you see the green small line here, that was clearly again telling me that the buyers are trying to push the stock up. Okay, so these two candles were sufficient for me to stay back in the trade, guys. Okay, and finally I booked my profit at the top. I booked my profit at 219.01, and as you can see here, the high made by this candle was 219.45. okay, so it's always close to perfect. Okay, it's always close to perfect. It cannot be perfect because nobody can predict what's going to happen, but what we can do is by using the technicals we can be very close to perfect. All right, so the same thing happened here. Entry was 215.38, exit was 219.01, and it was a gain of 3.63 rupees, and total it was a gain of 9,075 rupees. Right, now moving on to the next one, NIITech. Right, Okay, I got unlucky here as well. Okay, so the entry was around 531.95, that is somewhere here. This candle I took the entry. Okay, so I took both the trades at the same time. I invested 10,000 in IBREAL and I invested 10,000 in NIT Tech. Okay, so the entry was in this candle at 531.95, somewhere here. Okay, somewhere here. Okay, and my expectation was this guy should at least touch 543.75. okay, which did not happen because Nifty was going down big time. Okay, so it went up. The highest point it went up was 540.70. I would have booked my profit there, but still I somehow stayed back. I was expecting at least 543, which did not happen. Okay, so even I got a super trend like red signal here, which was telling me that the stock will go down, and I stayed back till here actually. Okay, because still I was expecting the stock to be moving up by seeing some of the technicals. Okay, at the same time Nifty was pulling the stocks down big time at that time. Okay, but still this guy was resisting it. That is the only reason why I stayed back in the trade. And when this 1 2 3 4 these things started happening this wick you see here, so the super trend line here is acting as a resistance, right? And this small wick is telling me that the sellers are pushing the stock down, right? So this is the point where I gave up my hope that this is gonna touch 543, and since I was still in a profit, I thought of coming out with whatever profit I have. Okay, so 534.95 was the point where I came out. Okay, and the total profit I was able to manage here was 3 rupees. Okay, I was trading with 700 stocks, so a total profit of 2,100 in NIT Tech, guys. Okay, just an advice to you guys: if you are following this particular strategy or this particular setup, please do not take any risk when you see the super trend giving you a red signal. Okay, I took the risk because I was being supported with some other technicals which I do not expose here. Okay, so if you are not aware about those technicals, please do not stay in the trade if you get a red line or a red down arrow from the super trend, right? So these were the two trades. Let me jump on to the recorded video here and let me start it off. Right, so this was 2,500 shares bought in IBREAL. Okay, I missed it big time. Yeah, this is the point when I put a limit order actually, and out of 2,500 from 2,500 around 488 shares were sold because it just touched that point and came down, so I was left over with 2,012 shares. Okay, so right, 217.45 was open. I cancelled it because I was sure it will go further up, so I cancelled it. I again put a limit order at 218 something, don't remember the exact number. Let it come up. Okay, yeah, 2017-80 I put the limit, and again I was sure that it will go up, so I cancelled the order. Okay, this was the point when those 488 shares were actually sold off. I was not ever aware about that. Later when I had a look in my order book, the details of the order book, I came to know about it. So this was NIT Tech. IBREAL was running and I entered NIT Tech with 700 shares. Okay, yep, so 531.95 was the entry in NIT Tech, and this is the point where I came out from IBREAL. Okay, as you can see here, entry was 215.38 and I exited at 219.30. The number difference here you see 2500 and 2012, that is because, as I mentioned, 488 shares were sold initially when it touched the limit which I had set, and then it came down. So finally I sold 2012 shares at 219.30, and the profit was 9,075. Let me show the position here. Yep, so 9,075 rupees profit in IBREAL. NIIT Tech is still running, right? So 2,625 is the profit. I had a target, but it was never met today, right? And finally I decided to come out of NIIT Tech. Right, so NIIT Tech was sold at 534.95, exactly a 3 rupees profit. All right, so this was my final position, 9075 in IBREAL and 2100 in NIIT Tech, a total of 11,175 rupees, right? Alright, so that's it for now, guys. I will go ahead and record a video if possible tomorrow or today as well, if I get a chance to record, and I will share it out again, right? So just one thing to say, guys, the example that I showed you for IBREAL, okay, that is only possible if you are technically strong, if your technical analysis is really strong, and if you trust your own strategy. All right, so having that said, let me sign off. You all have a very good night, guys. Bye bye.